We lose her now. Hi, Raziel. Yes, we are working on the echoing. They don't let you change it when you're recording. So I don't know if we.
She did just connect, but she's back.
Okay, where are you seeing?
Right? Doesn't it say that, or is that just say that we're in there?
Well, this is the studio chat, but I think we might have lost her.
If you go back, she said that she was here. I'm here. Oh,
there she is. Oh my goodness.
There's a lot of steps to this.
This is too complicated for me.
Oh, and I still, because you're live, I can't do the echo cancellation because you can't do the echo cancellation while you're recording.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so we might I'll have to probably edit that in the end part there. That's weird. Why, I don't understand why they wouldn't let you do that. But.
Do you want me to try? Do you want me to try logging in with my phone and seeing if it's better? Do you want to try one more time?
Oh, well, I think we had somebody do that the other day, and the echoing was on their side.
Okay, because I don't have one on my side.
Yeah.
So it's definitely
so it's
the
definitely
echoes on our side.
We'll just have to edit it out. We can cancel out the echo in post production.
Okay.
It's a pain, but we can do it.
Okay.
So, anyways, let me do a little shout out for you here. I'm welcome everybody to Tango Talks Live. This is our 13th episode for this year, season 2, and we have with us Alison. How do you say your last name?
Gieschen.
Gieschen. Okay. Thank you. And so we have Alison with us tonight, and she is an award-winning author, lifelong sailor, which I think is amazing, and a horsewoman whose life story is as epic as a novel she writes. A former school teacher and graduate of the University of North Carolina, Charlotte, Alison has spent 30 years running an internationally successful equestrian program on her family farm in New Jersey. Well, you used to be not that far away. But so we just want to welcome Alison to the show, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Again, we were reading your profile online, and definitely were intrigued by it. So we're glad that we could get together and work. So first off, let's just say, so what made you decide to sell everything and sail the world? I'm sure lots of people have fantasies about that.
Well, it actually started when I was about 9 or 10 years old, and I grew up on a farm in upstate New York, and there was no water around us. We had a pond, and that's it, and I knew nothing about sailing. But one day I was walking barefoot through the grass, and I remember this like it was yesterday, and all of a sudden I had this vision of standing on a boat with sails and just moving across the water, and it was the most wonderful feeling, and it was like a dream, but being awake. And so I'm just sitting there thinking about this feeling of power of just letting the wind take you and carry you across this water. And then I'm thinking, the world is like 80% water. And how cool would it be to sail all the way around the world by boat someday? So fast forward to college at UNCC, I started crewing sailboat races and fell in love with it to the point where I was just, in awe of it. And meanwhile, my mom and dad retired and they left Charlotte and they moved to New Bern, North Carolina. And my mom had a water background and she had done sailing, and she decided she was going to become the fastest woman skipper in this huge sailing community. Well, the problem was there were no other women skippers. So she just had to become the fastest sailor, period, which she did. I mean, she kicked butt. She took names. She won all these regattas. And so finally, this really big regatta was coming up. And I came all the way from Charlotte 4 hours to be in this regatta with her. Meanwhile, my cousin up in Philadelphia worked at the shipyard, the Navy shipyard up there. And he had an eligible bachelor next to him, a merchant marine, a mechanical engineer, and a 3-time national dinghy champion sailor. And he said, "Hey, cousin, you want to go down to North Carolina and be a ringer on my mom's boat, on my Aunt Jerry's boat?" And he was like, "Why wouldn't I not want to do that?" So they came down and we won the regatta. And we spent this amazing weekend together. We scuba dived, windsurfed, canoed, did all these, shenanigans. It was just incredible weekend. So it was a 3-day weekend. And at the end, we're sitting at a bar and in New Bern, and he's getting ready to drive all the way back up to Philadelphia. I'm going back to Charlotte, and those are 11 hours apart. And he's saying, someday I want to sail around the world. I'm like, oh my God, me too. Let's get married. So we did. He flew me up the 2 weekends later and proposed to me. We were together for the fourth day. The fourth day we were physically together. I said, I have to ask you to marry me because we share this dream and we know we're compatible and we just need to be married. And if I don't ask you, somebody else is. So, will you marry
awesome.
me?
I love that.
Yeah.
So I said yes.
Great story.
And his dad happens to be a Lutheran minister. And he married us on the country club lawn less than a year later on the club lawn where we met.
Aww.
Oh, that's like a fairy tale wedding right there.
Yeah.
But I've seen some of those races, and they're pretty intense.
Well, you're probably looking at the modern boats and the way they're heeling and they're going right next to each other in danger of crashing. That's not the kind of sailing that these regattas were. They're people with whatever brand of sailboat they have, and they're like a distance race, and you have to go around certain markers and things. But it's not the high intense modern day like Olympic type sailing. You get a handicap on the size of your boats. You might be bigger boats and smaller boats, but you get these handicaps, and you just have to get.
But still, those sailboats, though, I've seen when they turn and stuff like that, those people are just about leaning off a boat. They're not even on the boat. Like, they're just got their tippy toes on, and they're all leaning off the edge.
Yeah, well, that's
my husband would have a heart attack. He's like, I would never do that because a shark would eat me.
So yeah, that's not the kind of sailing that we do on our cruising boats. So. I mean, that whole wedding thing just blew my mind. That's amazing that you were.
It all worked out that way.
Yeah, but it turned out to be the wedding from hell, which is a whole different story. You'll have to read my book.
No.
No, yes.
We'll have to have you coming back another time. We'll have to talk about weddings.
Oh, it was one for the record book. Seriously, like I've never heard a wedding story like this before or after, and it's been 40 years in June. So,
wow,
that's crazy. God bless you. That's awesome, though. What was the most unexpected lesson about yourself that you learned while sailing through storms, and how did it shape your writing?
Well, the most unexpected lesson was my level of fear that because when you're out in the ocean in a storm and your boat takes $14,000 worth of damage and things are just hitting the fan, so to speak, your fear level is pretty high. Unless you're my husband, he fears nothing. So, can't talk about him, it has to be about me. But I learned that it's okay to have fear. It's just how to manage it. I have to learn how to manage it because I'm probably the bravest chicken in the whole world. Everything scares me. I mean, loud noises, splashes in the water, like anything scares me. But I'm out here doing it. So it's all about fear management and being in control of it and understanding it and shaking hands with it. Say, yeah, you can be here, but I need to be in control.
It's funny you say that because I'm a big, both me and Angela are both horror buffs. But I found that for some reason, as I've gotten older, I've watched some of these movies like 9 times. And every time the same scene, my legs come right up off the chair and I get laughed at. My husband was like, you knew that was going to happen. I was like, yeah, but I wasn't really expecting. He goes, that doesn't make any sense because you watched this movie 9 times. So everything just seems to scare me now. And I don't know why, but it just does.
Well, I think as you get older, too, you have a few more fears. Like we're not like when we were little kids, you can fall off of something or you fall into the water or whatever. You're just going to get right back up and you're going to keep going. But now we're afraid, oh my goodness, we're going to chip a hip or we're going to break an ankle.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Being physically injured is like the least of my worries. There's just so many other things to worry about out here. So,
well, I'm sure. Yeah, being out on the water is a big deal. So you were a former teacher and gone sailor, and you're an author.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got a lot of great mariner stories.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about your books. I see you have. I did a little bit of research here, and I was looking to see what books we could find. And you have 7. Is that correct?
It'll be 8 starting April 1st. My new book comes out April 1st. Yep.
I've always wanted to try writing a book. I don't know. I wouldn't even know how to start. My son wrote one, and I think he's working on a second one now. But I just find it amazing. Anybody who can sit down and put together a timeline and write a book. So God bless you.
Thank you.
So tell us about your books. Tell us how you get started with your books.
Well, my very first book, I was an English major at college, and I did journalism and some grant writing and things along that nature. And I wanted to be a journalist, but when I graduated, my parents had already moved to North Carolina. I had no parental support. I had nobody to tell me how do I become a journalist. And I tried doing internships with newspapers and things like that, and there was just door after door after door slammed in my face. So I couldn't pursue, what my dream was to become a journalist. Because Dan and I got married right away, a couple weeks after I graduated, we moved up to New Jersey because he had a job at the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard, and I came with horses. So he had to buy some land in New Jersey across the river from Philly, and he built me a horse farm, and we had our kids ready away. We had 3 kids under 4. So sailing was the last thing on my mind. But I did become a school teacher so that I could be home with my kids during the summer, and I could still run my writing program. So writing was the last thing from my mind. But then one day my mother called me, and she goes, I can't find anything good to read that doesn't have smut in it and that, doesn't have the values that I like. I need you to write me a book. I'm like, okay, Mom, what do you want the book about? She's like, well, make it about this, and this. I sat down in 6 weeks. I did the exact book she wanted, published it with iUniverse, submitted it. It won the Rising Star Award, so it was a fairly decent book, and she absolutely loved it. So I'm like, well, that was really easy. Writing a book is not hard. So from there, I started writing. I wrote a children's book about the equestrian sport I taught, which most people have never heard of. It's called equestrian vaulting. It's gymnastics on the back of a moving horse. And it was developed back in the Greek and Roman times because they used to have to learn how to fight from any position on a horse. So they developed these drills on how to teach riders to be in any position on the horse, how to be able to dismount, mount, get on either side, be on the neck, be on the back, standing. And it was so much fun that they made it into one of the very first Greek and Roman Olympic sports. And then when the Olympics evolved to modern, where they started saying, well, so many countries had to participate in order for it to be a sport, vaulting got dropped. So it is back in the Olympics now as an exhibition sport, and they're trying to get it promoted as an equestrian sport in the Olympics. So anyway, what your original question was about my writing. Oh yeah, so my second book was introducing vaulting through the eyes of a 3rd grader. Like, she had never heard of it. She was a horse freak, as most 3rd grade girls are, and she learned about it and did a research paper on it. So it's called Julia's Vaulting Dream, and it's all about her discovery of the sport that I taught. And then I did some nonfiction books about some of my horses. And then when we went sailing, I started out with my memoir and did 2 memoirs, and then more nonfiction books, and then children's books, and it's just, I have a lot of time to write, so, why not?
Well, that's great. I mean, it seems like you're very passionate about the writing as well as your sailing.
Oh, yeah.
And it seems like your stories are very reflective of your own life experiences.
Yeah, they are. Like, even my fiction books, 100% factual information in there that I take and I weave into my fiction. For instance, I had a dream. My horses come and visit me in my dreams. I have to feed them and take care of them. And it's a real pain in the neck. I hate it. It's like every night I'm working my butt off because those horses have to be fed and taken care of. But one night,
I'm just exhausted.
I do. So one day I woke up and I said to my husband, I'm like, I didn't know the horses in my dream. And it was really weird. It was like they were looking inside my soul, because there's all kinds of quotes historically from all the way back to the earliest time when people were writing about horses, and horses seeing inside the souls of men and knowing what's in their hearts. And in this dream, that's exactly what was going on. And I thought, what a cool premise for a book is if horses could look inside the souls of humans to determine if they're good or they're bad, and make a plot out of that. So I did. So I took 7 people from
What's
around.
the name of that book?
That's the book. Are you referring to your book, The Seven?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay.
But I picked 7 characters from around the world, and all of their cultures and the history of the horses that live there and all these things that are going on are all heavily researched. So writing the book, I learned so much because they come from all, 7 different places around the world, and either the location or the character is familiar to me that I knew why I picked that spot. So there's truth behind all of the stories. And I actually, on my author website, AlisonGieschen.com, I have the story behind the story, which goes into why I picked that character in that location and what my personal connection is to it.
Great. I love that.
I love the fact that she's actually doing this from her boat. How big is that boat?
Feet.
That's pretty nice.
That's a good sized boat.
Like, think of it as an RV. If you had a 43-foot RV, you could live comfortably on there with another person.
Absolutely.
I've been trying to look out the windows above you, and it was like so envious. It's just to be out in the sunshine, and we're in upstate New York right now, and it's like 23 degrees.
That's where I grew up, was upstate New York. So.
We're just outside of Cooperstown.
Okay, I was up near Kingston, Poughkeepsie, that area.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So, do you have more questions for me?
Yeah, we're trying to flip back and forth. We got one monitor down tonight.
Okay.
So this is funny because we just talked to another couple about this kind of on the same thing. So how do the cultures you've encountered across 46 countries influence the characters and the worlds in your fiction, like the 7 that we just talked about?
Mm-hmm. They influence them greatly because being on a sailboat and landing in a harbor in these different countries around the world, it's actually been to 50 now. We spend time in each of these harbors, and we get to know the people, and we get to know the cultures and the atmospheres and the wonderful nuances of the people that live there. And so when I took the perspective of writing the characters from the 7, there was already something that drew me to that culture and that person and that place. And it just makes it so real when I'm writing. It might be fiction, but when I'm inside that person and I'm writing their story, I'm living it. I'm like actually living it. And I will be here for hours at the computer, and Dan will look over. At some points I'm crying, and some points I'm angry, and he's like, what is going on over there? Like, what you don't understand. And I really embody them. I mean, I think that's why I just love it so much, is because I'm living this alternate reality every time that I write a story. And like, we're avid scuba divers. We actually have a dive compressor and scuba tanks on board. And we go under this water and see a whole world that most humans on the planet never get to see. And it's so complex and beautiful. Yeah. So when I write my 2 mermaid books, it's obviously, I haven't met a mermaid yet. They could still meet one, but everything else about the story is 100% factual. The sea creatures, and there's even like glossaries with the actual photos of the sea creatures after the story, so the kids can see a picture of the real sea animals, the sea life, and then a description about them and real facts about them. So I take my surroundings and what I see and experience, and I put it into my writing, whether it's fictional or facts, or fictional or non-fictional.
That's awesome. That's cool.
So do you ever like when you're writing? Do you ever? I mean, probably not, because you haven't so far. You said you have 8 books coming out, so you're not running out of things to write about. Do you think that you would ever write, like, will you keep progressing on some of your books? Like, will you have, like a sequel or anything like that? Like, are those thoughts in your mind?
Well, my sailing memoirs, I have Riding the Waves of Reality 1 and 2, which are sequels, because the first one is the first 3 years of our journey, and the second one is our time in the Mediterranean, which was absolutely magical. Being able to visit all these islands in the Med, which is spectacular.
We're gonna end up with a library of books with all these people we keep talking to.
I know, it's wonderful.
And now I finished Marlin, the sequel to Sienna is the girl mermaid. That's the first part of the series, and then it's called Mermaid Tales, Tails, because Tales was taken. So Mermaid Tales is Sienna, and then A Boy and Her Story. his book is coming out April 1st. And it's called Marlin. And we'll make another sequel to that because it ends in a cliffhanger that ties the two stories together. And then I am well embarked on the third of our sailing memoirs, which will be Crossing the Pacific, which was an epic event.
How long did that take?
Ooh.
Well, I'm writing it now. I'm on chapter 6.
Oh, so she's still in the process of writing it. Yeah.
I had a question. I just lost it right in the middle of listening to you because I'm just. That's what it was. So you were talking about like how emotional you get writing these books and stories, but that's got to tell you that it's going to be a good book. It's going to be a good, a good seller, and people are going to love it. Because if you can get caught up in it that much, I would have to imagine your readers would too.
Well, I hope so. I mean, I just write because I love it. I don't ever expect to be rich or famous. If that happens, great. If not, I really don't care. I write them because there's stories in me that need to come out. So I don't have expectations of glory or fame. I just do what I do because it's what I love.
Because you love it. Yeah.
I think that should be the reason why everybody does it.
Yeah.
Like we don't ever expect to get rich and famous off our podcast, but we enjoy talking to all the people we get to meet.
Yeah.
Let's see here. What was the biggest challenge you faced transitioning from life on a farm to sailing? I mean, that's got to be an amazing transition right there.
Yeah, it's not having to get up. I've never in a point in my life before I moved on a boat, I didn't have to wake up every morning and take care of animals or kids. Like, it was just what I did since I was, a child. I grew up on this 100-acre farm, and it was a lot of work. I mean, we had every type of animal: horses, sheep, goats, chickens, turkeys, pigs, like everything. We were a self-sufficient farm. And then as soon as I got married, I had horses with me. And then I immediately got goats so I could have my own goat milk, and chickens so I could have my own eggs. And my husband got drawn into this world. So going from that to being on a boat with, all the possessions we have, I could fit in one bag. We literally are minimalists at this point. And it's like a quiet after a storm. Like, picture being in a raging storm with thunder and lightning and waves and all that. And then just picture the quiet the next morning when the sun rises and the water is still like a pond. It's that dramatic of a change.
It sounds blessed. It really does.
Yeah.
It took me a while. So I grew up just outside of Rome, New York, and got used to fighter jets from Griffiths Air Force Base going overhead for 18 years. And then now I got married and we moved out here to Ridgefield Springs, which is where I met my lovely little co-host here, Angela. And it took me a while to get used to the quiet. It was like, every morning, every night, I'd be like, where's the cop car? Where's the sirens? I don't hear anything. What's going on here? So it would keep me awake sometimes. It took a while for me to get used to that amount of quietness. But I can imagine like waking up on the ocean and being and just going outside and looking, and the sun's rising or setting, whichever way it's going, and just
everything. The stars in the sky.
Oh,
that you're seeing.
Like here at Anchor, life is a little more normal because we get in our dinghy, we go to shore, and we can go to a store. If there's a restaurant, that's like one on this whole island, we can go get a pizza or something. But it's kind of normal. But when you're doing a crossing and you're out to sea for weeks at a time, and the silence and the quiet there is just, it takes your breath away. Like you live by the sun rising and the sun setting, and that, starts and ends your day. And you're just, every hour of the day, you're just being pushed along by the wind, and there's just such a peacefulness and no distraction, no noises, no phones ringing, no nothing. And you just get to, it's really the epitome of being in the moment and enjoying your world around you because it's so beautiful. It's just breathtaking. And at first, being out in the middle of the ocean scared me, so far away from land. There's like all these things that can go wrong, and that preoccupied me. But after crossing, by our fourth crossing, I was out like the, middle of the crossing somewhere around day 15. And I said to my husband, how many days have we been out? And he's like, well, we've been out 15. I'm like, I don't care if we ever see land again. Like it was just, I didn't feel that isolation anymore. I felt part of the sea. I felt like it was my home. I embraced it. This is where I belong. And all those that fear went away, and that feeling of being far away went. I just felt cradled by it, not in danger of it.
And I'm sure that's really important to just kind of like embrace all of it. Especially like you're saying, you're out in the middle of the ocean and you can't even see land at some points. So that's like, to me, that would be a scary thing, like it was for you at first, but you find a way to embrace it. But when you're out at sea and stuff, what are the kind of things that you're doing? Like, are you fishing? I mean, that sounds probably like a silly question, but are you like becoming one with the sea? I know you said you're kind of doing your diving and that kind of stuff, but are you eating food, or are you stopping and just stocking up on everything? Like, what's your whole process there?
Well, when you're crossing an ocean, you don't see anything during the crossing. I mean, you're just out to sea for however long, a 15-day, a 20-day, a 30-day passage. So there's no stopping. There's no seeing anything. There's no shopping. There's nothing. You're just out in the middle of the ocean. So what happens is that when the sun sets, we have to do watches all night long because somebody needs to be looking at the instrumentation. You don't often see other ships, but sometimes you do. And you have to make sure the boat's on course. You have to make sure the wind hasn't changed direction. You haven't, that the sails are set. So there's a job to do. So once the sun sets, like my husband, I'll go to bed. I'll stay up as long as I can. So maybe till 1 or 2 in the morning. And then my husband will come up and he will stay up until 4 or 5 in the morning, or 6 maybe. I don't know when the sun rises. And then I wake up and I watch the sun come up, and then our day starts. But because we're up such a big portion of the night, we'll nap during the day. We will, try to recover the sleep that we lost during the night. And because we're going to bed and waking up at times we don't normally do that, there's not really a breakfast and a dinner schedule. So we usually just have like one meal around, maybe 12, 1 o'clock. I'll put together something and we'll eat. And then the other times of the day, we'll just snack whenever we feel hungry. So we just have one basic meal, but we have lots of food on board. So if you're hungry, you go, get something to eat, something to snack on, some fruit or some vegetables or a bag of chips or whatever. And so we just have that main one meal together. And during the day, we like to read, we listen to podcasts, we look out at the ocean, we throw the fishing line out, we catch a fish. We just, our world is very simple, but there's never any boredom. There's never any, because it's such a dramatic environment, such an incredible, pods of dolphins will come. Oh my gosh, when a pod of dolphins comes up to the boat, I get so excited and I run up there and I got the camera out and I'm filming them and I'm putting my hand in the water trying to touch them and I'm just like squealing like a small child. I get so freaking excited. And, catching a fish is a big event because it's hours of getting it on the boat and then cleaning it and cutting the meat up and getting that all packaged and everything. So it's, and then I also write, like if it's not rough, I will be down on my computer and I will be typing in a book. So, or also I have a travel blog.
And I guess that's what I was trying to get at with the question is that, we're so used because we're kind of glued to the land, us, me and Wayne, right now. So we have a very different structure than what what you would be doing. So it's not like you're just out there sailing all willy-nilly. I mean, you actually have some type of a process.
Well, yeah, we're always on a route. We're always on a course somewhere. Yeah.
So how many hours a day do you think you spend writing?
It depends, like I said, where we are. If we're in harbor and there's a lot of we have broken parts and we have to go out and do these forages to go find parts and get things fixed. And there's things we have to take care of when we're on land. And I try to write every day and I fit it in when and where I can, but I don't have a schedule. I don't okay, I'm going to write between 5 and 8 this morning. It's just, whenever it hits me, whenever it's convenient, I sit down and pick up where I left off. When I'm out to sea, it's a little easier to have a schedule because, I usually know what my awake and my alert time is going to be. And it's sometime, in the early afternoon or maybe in the morning before Dan gets up. So as long as it's not too rough, it's real easy to write every day when we're out at sea. Land takes land takes a little more finagling because I do have to provision and I've got to go shopping, and right now our water maker is broken, so I have to carry every drop of water onto the boat that we're drinking. So that means getting in a dinghy, going to shore, walking a mile to the store, getting the jugs of water, which are very heavy, and carrying them a mile back, putting them in the dinghy, getting back to the boat, getting them onto the boat, and all the dishes. There's non-potable water that's right where the dinghy dock is, and I fill up these other jugs with the non-potable water, and I have to do all my dishes by pouring water from a jug onto them, which is a real pain in the neck. So,
like being back on the farm.
No goats to milk, but I wanted one goat and one chicken on my boat, and my husband would not agree, and I'm really upset about that because I'd have my milk and my egg every day.
So I have to ask, because I get yelled at in the car if I'm playing on my phone because I get motion sickness. Have you ever gotten motion sickness trying to write for your book?
Usually I know my limits of what's too rough. I mean, the first year or so, I might have gotten seasick a couple of times when I tried to read. I think if it's rough and I know it's too rough to write, but sometimes I'll try and read when the boat's doing some funny things, and I have gotten nauseous a few times, and then I learned my limits, so now it doesn't really happen anymore.
I get yelled at because he'll see me doing something, and I'll just be reading an email, and he's like, "You're gonna get sick." I'm like, "No, I'm fine for a couple minutes." Then I was like, I put the phone down. I was like, "Yeah, you went too far."
Read one too many.
So I think we're going to cycle back a little bit back here because I mentioned my son is writing his second book, and how would you suggest to aspiring writers balancing solitude and the nature of storytelling?
So I'm not sure what you're trying to balance: solitude and storytelling.
Right.
I'm not sure what that means.
Like with you, like the solitude of sailing with the the collaborative nature of storytelling.
Okay, well, in our world, there's really no solitude. Yes, we're alone, but there's so much going on all the time. Even crossing oceans, I'm thinking back to the experiences that I had on land. At visiting 50 countries, I already have more stories and visual images and, feelings and things to write for the next 100 years. So there is no lack of ideas, and solitude doesn't even play a part. So it's just how fast I can get them all out and down on paper at this point.
That would be my problem. I would have to have, I'd have to have some kind of online storage that had 100,000 gig or something like that. Like taking 1 million photos of it just for reference.
No. Yeah, I'm about to reach my Google photo limit. I got to start going back and getting rid of stuff. Oh,
I think I've had to upgrade ours twice already.
And now
save everything.
And now I've gotten into writing songs because there's a program where I develop my own lyrics, and then you go in and you put in the style that you want the song sung, and the voice and the instruments and the beat and whatever you want, however you want it to sound like, you put in those parameters, and then you put in the lyrics, and it creates amazing songs. And I've actually had people are paying me now to put together music videos. I have boat friends, and I wrote a whole story of how they met and got on their boat, and the name of her boat is Whatever She Wants, and the name of the dinghy is What He Gets. And so it's their story, and I wrote it. I wrote all the lyrics, and then because I know their lives pretty well, that I could come up with. Plus, I went on their blog and cheated a little bit, but and then I had all kinds of pictures because they're like our boat buddies. We've been sailing for 6 years together. And I made this music video for him, and she just went ballistic. She's like, "This is the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life." And she sent it out to 100 of her friends. And so now all these people are trying to get me to write songs and videos for them. So I'm like, well, I'll do it, but you're going to have to pay me because it takes hours and hours to do this. So now I've got this little...
You don't waste any time, do you?
So I got this little side gig going on right now about writing songs for people and and then they'll send me pictures, and I'll make a little music video to go with it. And I have a song for Sienna, my mermaid book, and I just wrote one about Marlin. And then yesterday, we have these issues going on with our boat, and another issue I have is that our engine is broken. We can't go anywhere until we get this part. Well, we're supposed to get the part today, and it's supposed to be put in, and we're keeping our fingers crossed because we can't go anywhere until this engine is fixed. So while we're in French Polynesia, the thing here is tattoos. So I got a tattoo of a mermaid and a dolphin on my calf, and my husband got a tattoo of a manta ray on his shoulder, and it's beautiful. And it has all these symbols inside with different meanings, like protection and family. Our children are in there, and our whole story is like in little symbols inside this outline of this beautiful manta ray. So he calls it a spirit animal. So we're up on deck, and we're sitting there thinking about, tomorrow's the big day. And well, don't you know, 2 giant manta rays came and swam around our boat for 30 minutes. No, 30 minutes. And, you might see them off in the distance somewhere, but they've never come anywhere near us. And here we are talking about our fate. And, he's standing there with this thing on his shoulder, and they just appeared before us. And they just kept coming towards us with their mouth open, like siphoning, so I could get all these beautiful photos and videos of them. So, of course, it was so touching and so poignant and so timely. Like, everything's going to be okay because our spirit animals came and told us that it's going to be okay. That I went right down and wrote a song about manta rays, and I'm going to put it together with this video, all this beautiful video I got. And
but sometimes I think you have to pay attention to the things that actually happen around you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some things happen for a reason. And, I think as a culture, I think we've lost sight of paying attention to what happens around you. And
you have so many distractions in your life. You've got the phone ringing. You've got to be somewhere. You've got to go here. You've got to get to the grocery store. You've got to go take care of this. You got to get the dent in the fender. You got to get there's just 1,000 things that distract you. And in our world, there's just looking and observing and being part of your surroundings, and that's just such an incredible way to live.
I think next time she's near New York or New Jersey, we need to go down and hop on the boat for a little bit.
That's assuming we make it around the world.
Angela's from New Jersey.
I am, yeah.
She's just like, yeah, okay.
We don't like to admit that, do we?
No.
Sorry, I won't bring it up ever again.
Jersey girls.
Jersey girls, that's right.
Let's see. I think we have one more question here. And what was the most surprising connection you've found between the freedom of sailing and the discipline of writing, and how can listeners apply it to their own passions?
Okay, so can you have to repeat that one more time because my brain has to connect your two ideas.
That's fine. I know sometimes I'm a fast speaker. What's the most surprising connection you've found between the freedom of sailing and the discipline of writing? And how can listeners apply it to their own passion?
Well, you have to have equal passion for both. And you have to be caught up in both. And the two just merge. And you have to, I found that happy medium between both. So their worlds just kind of merge seamlessly. And to me, it's just a passion that I have for both that connects them and makes them both very easy for me. And as far as giving advice to other people who are writing, if what you're writing you're not passionate about, you got to find something else to write about, because it should be effortless. It shouldn't be sitting there going, oh my God, I'm having a brain, block. I can't figure out the next thing to write. If you're passionate enough about it, it will come and it will just flow onto the paper or the computer, whatever you're writing on.
I agree. Like you were saying earlier, how emotional you get sometimes when you're writing. If you're not feeling that emotion, I agree. You need to find a different subject.
Yep, absolutely. So just, you've got to love it and you've got to be passionate about it and you got to feel it as you're writing.
Awesome. I agree with that 100%, 110%. Alison, it's a pleasure having you on the show.
Well, thank you.
I do apologize for our connection issues in the beginning. Hopefully on our third time doing this with this new server, we can figure out the echoing issue. But again, I am envious of your boat. And it's just such a pleasure to talk to you.
Well, thank you. It was really fun being here. I like having two co-hosts. Most of my podcasts are just a single person's.
Just
really,
one. It's
fun having the dynamics of having two different perspectives and types of questions and things. So I enjoyed it.
We've had to do separate on occasion for other things that have come up in our lives, but it's not as fun.
The more the merrier.
But yes,
that's right.
Enjoy your sunshine down there and and your dolphins, and we certainly appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Allison. We really appreciate you being here with us tonight.
Well, thank you, and thank you for promoting my books because that's really, really special. I like that. Thank
Absolutely.
And before we go, do you want to give us any information on the books, like as far as where we can find them and that sort of thing? We'll post everything at the end of our show anyway.
you. Okay, so AlisonGieschen.com is my author website, and that's all my books are listed on there, plus blog posts and different things. And there's a connection there to my Sailmates blog post, or they can go right to sailmates.org. And there's a tracker on there so you can see where we are in the world, find Equus.
Oh, I love that. I'm totally going to stalk you.
And that has links to my author website. But what I do on Sailmates is every place that we visit, you get pictures and stories and history of every country that we've ever been to. So that's kind of special.
Fantastic.
And then all my books are on Amazon. So if you type in Alison Gieschen author, all of the books will come up. And I do daily videos, pictures, and stories on my Facebook page and Instagram. So every single day you get a little glimpse of my world. Like I'm going to do the manta rays with their manta song. I'm getting ready to go work on that. So you should look me up on.
Totally gonna follow you
for that.
Sailing Equus on Instagram and Alison Gieschen on Facebook.
Awesome. Thank you for that information.
Thank you so much.
Well, again, thank you for tonight. We certainly appreciate it. And God bless you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And good luck with your podcast.
With the boat parts.
Oh, fingers crossed he's coming in an hour. I'm really, thank God the mantis came and gave me a little reassurance there. So,
Yeah.
Well, enjoy yourself. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.